Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. As you know, I promised the program to be on at 9. We're actually very timely. It's only, when I say 9, it's 9 o'clock Australian time, Sydney time. It's, in fact, 1:30. We're joined by Naresh Matsakani. How are you?
I'm good, Norman. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
My pleasure. Now, Naresh is a common denominator to many great talks from the Bharat Army on various platforms like Extra Time, and on plenty of other platforms too, aren't you? On the Delhi Capitals fan club as well. What else?
Mumbai Indians. I'm a Mumbai Indians fan. I'm on. I'm a Mumbai guy now. Currently settled in Pune, which is a few miles away from Mumbai. Have played little competitive cricket in Mumbai in my younger days, and closely following the game, especially the Indian team. Yeah.
So we've got Naresh joining us. We'll have Siddharth coming a bit later on. We've got Gil coming on. I'm not sure about Ridham Apart actually might come in. We've got Alan Mullally, former England bowler, coming on.
Well, yeah.
I've got there's a few others, but we're going to have this show on every night, and including on the nights of the World Test Championship. We'll have from days 1, June 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, all 5 days. We'll have pre and post shows. We may even have midway shows, depending on what's happening.
Yeah.
So any relevancies, we'll be putting them on. But
that's going to be very, very early morning for you, right, when the game ends. Yeah.
Am I shocked at that? When it has been the case, how many times did I start the IPL with you?
Yeah, it's more or less the same time. Yeah, probably a little earlier than that. Yeah, IPL was also going quite late. Yeah.
So we'll be right. We'll have plenty of opportunities there, Naresh. So
sure.
So that'll be one aspect of it, and then of course, pre to that, we'll have the shows that we're talking about. I'll be on the streets again. I'll get newspaper shows. There'll be quite a few shows. How do you like my branding, Naresh? You haven't seen my
absolutely branding? Nice. Yeah, I like the color. Yeah, Eyes on Cricket. That's nice. Yeah, I like the color of the hat. Yeah.
We've got the jacket, everything here too, and I've got this is all coming out very shortly. We've got a shirt. I'm fully clothed.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
It's not bad at all. So, just before we start, I have some people I need to say hello to, and I'm hoping they're watching. I met all these people today. First and foremost, I met Nish from Australia and Stephen from England. I met them both, a lovely couple they were. I met them earlier today, as well as a lovely New Zealand couple who were very buoyant about New Zealand, both Joe and Sia, who are both living in Coogee, not far from me. I think only a street away. It was Joe and Sia and Stephen and Nish. And then at the end, 2 Sparkies or electricians who are good friends, Stephen and Michael. So there's Nish and Stephen. Then we have Joe and Sia, and then Stephen and Michael. All I met today said, guys, you were not lost. I made sure that I announced you guys as being welcome on the show. And we are going to bring we're going to bring Siddharth on. Don't worry, he's coming a bit later. He's definitely on. So there's a lot to be talked about today. Well, we talked a lot last night, Naresh, so I'm going to get your take on this. The reality is that both India and New Zealand have made the World Test Championship final. Now, it shouldn't be lost on anyone. That's as important, and I would argue more important than any other match in cricket history. And we have to give it that mantle, don't we, Naresh?
Oh, absolutely. Norman, most important is the purpose and the objective Test cricket is getting. The World Test Championship as an idea or a concept. I think to revive Test cricket, it's a phenomenal thing to happen. And you can imagine the roadblocks ICC faced due to the unfortunate pandemic. They could have so easily just called it off halfway, but they stuck to it. They revised few things, the point system. It impacted few teams, fair enough, but at least they are serious to go ahead with this and have the final schedule the way it is. So very, very exciting to see the way Test cricket is getting that due importance, being the oldest format and you can say the purest form of cricket.
Now we are welcomed by the most attractive man on earth, especially in England, young David Graveney. How are you?
Hi, Norman.
So David and Naresh, please meet each other. Naresh is from Pune in India, and David Gravely.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Naresh, how are you?
Hello, David. Good. Thank you, David. How about you?
Not too bad, actually. I'm in Southampton.
How's your volume going, David? Your volume needs a bit more volume. Otherwise, you're perfect.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, all right, get it closer. So, yeah, I'm in Southampton actually on holiday. But
You're in Southampton on holiday.
When Norman sends me an email, Naresh, that means he needs to speak to me.
So you're actually in Southampton.
Yeah.
How's the weather like? Because we do see some weather building up during the weekend and may have an impact on the game.
Naresh, in England, you only need 3 days of sunshine, then you get thunderstorms.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So that's what you're likely to experience during the game. But anyway, I think it's going to be a great occasion. New Zealand have shown how good they are. They seem to go under the radar a lot, but having been chairman of selectors when the last time they won here, that is very vivid in my memory. When England ended up being 8th in the Test rankings.
So we have it's rather nice. We've got Alan Spider Mullally here. We've got David Graveney, Naresh Maraskani, and also myself with a few more.
Actually, Norman, Al played in that game at the Oval when we were relegated to 8th in the Test Match Championship. And
New Zealand.
And in fact, it ended up being the worst tail that I've ever selected as involved with the game.
How did he get the job as a selector? He drops them when they're ranked number 1 in the world and has no reason for a one-day cricket. How did I get picked? I don't know.
Did you play in that Test match?
Against Georgia, not against New Zealand?
Yeah.
In 1999 after the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yep. And I came on to bowl because we had probably one of the worst captains I've ever been captained by, Hussein. I don't know who appointed him. He goes, Alan, you get Cairns out quite often. Come on, bowl.
So
I took one of the best Cairns bowls of all time. And Smithy, the Kiwi former keeper, commentator, goes, you can't teach that. Just can't teach that. It was either catch it or lose my leg. He whopped it.
Alan, I must quickly stop you, guys. We've got a comment here from Abhinav. He's saying he copied your action a lot in his younger days.
My Abhinav. Action or Al's?
In mine, would be yours. You see what? With my action,
how many first class wickets did you get, Al? How many first?
You can't make grab ball quick. It doesn't work that way.
How many wickets did you get, Al?
For who?
No, first class wickets in your career.
You know, I'm not a stats man. I'm more of a trophies man. Like, I think I was involved in 2 Sheffield Shield winning finals in 7 games with like a team that was quite serious. 2 county championship winning teams, Leicester, the smallest team in the county. You'll never get picked by Norman for England if you play for Leicester. They're unfashionable. Well, hello. I think I did 96. I might have broken down a few doors. Paul Nixon.
Okay, before we go any further, guys, I just want to make sure our audience knows who we've got on air. I mentioned Naresh Maraskani from Pune in India. We've got Alan Spider Mullally he's based in Perth in Australia, but he actually was the opening bowler for England.
Alan Mullally, left arm, yeah. Remember very well, Alan, in the 90s.
Naresh, while you're in front of Mr. Graveney, please don't do that one, okay? Lock your wrist that one and do that one.
That one, okay.
Naresh, you never mastered that. So.
Hello. You might want to ask Damien Martin about that. I think there's Jack Callis as well, as well as I don't know.
No. You only have to do it once in the spell.
But you know what? No matter what you say, when I wake up in the morning, did I have fun? Yes. Did I fulfill a dream? Yes. Did I leave Perth when I was 18 with $100 and a one-way airline ticket and a left shoulder and had fun? Yes. That's what life's all about sometimes.
So, David, you were the one that selected Alan, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Very honest.
Actually, no. he was a selector. I can tell a story about this.
When did you make your debut?
1996 against India. Graham, I'll be serious now for a second.
I was a minion in Norman at that stage.
That was when Ray Illingworth was the chairman of selectors.
And he was.
And those were the days.
Former captain of Leicester, Norman, so that's why he got selected.
He thought he was my best mate, my right-hand man. Oh, my Lord. Back in my day. I'll tell you a quick story, Grab. Do you remember when you got picked to play for your country, right? Yeah. And you have to have a dinner before the game you play. You might want to go to a cinema, take your girlfriend out for dinner. Maybe just watch TV. We had to go to the big fancy room with the England blazer, your tie, the whole lot for a dinner. Oh, my God, with the gin and tonic brigade from Lords. And those making their debut.
You're pleased to know
that was me, Mark Elam and Min Patel. We have to sit next to the chairman of selectors. So I had to sit next to Graveney, right? No, I don't, sorry, with Illingworth. Sorry, Grab. Now, Grab, you like this. So here I am, being picked to make my debut the following morning against India as a fast bowler. He's picked me, Illingworth, as a fast bowler. Then he starts telling me, well, back in my day, they could bowl. Back in my day, they could bowl. Truman, he was quick. He could bowl. He's been off all these names. They could bowl back in my day in the 60s. Unlike the bowlers these days, they can't bowl. Hello, didn't you just pick me to play for England the next day as a fast bowler? Go figure.
Needless to say, Norman, I scrapped the dinner when I took over. I actually did.
Thanks for that.
I did remember what the players did. And actually, even before Owl's time, that an unnamed chairman selectors was going to see the team off to go to Australia. And he was sidling up to a bloke who spoke with a Yorkshire accent and said, best of luck. I hope you get lots of wickets on tour. And the bloke said, Chairman, sorry to say that I am the physio and not the opening bowler.
All right, guys, can I just quickly stop you there for a minute before we can digress a bit further? A couple of things that are important. We can, because we've got both Dave and Al online, Naresh, we should probably look back at what just happened against England and New Zealand, and the fact that England didn't perform as well as they probably should have, having lost 1-0, and now they're ranked 4th in the Test rankings. They've actually, Australia surprisingly has gone to 3rd. I don't know how a team that's done nothing moves up the ladder. I find that hard to comprehend. Do you understand that, David?
Yeah, I think if you play and lose, that affects your overall ranking. So
yeah.
It would have dropped below Australia. So and it's an ever flowing sort of arrangement of ranking. So the moment you play, it affects where you're going to sit after that series. So
crazy, isn't it?
And a lot, as you can imagine, has been written in the English press about how bad England were. But I think sometimes you just, and I'm not saying they were good, and they all know that they could have done better, but they were beaten by a really well organised side that goes under the radar. You know, how many of their top players weren't playing in that game? You know, Williamson wasn't playing, Southey wasn't playing, so.
Watling didn't play. Yeah, Watling didn't play.
Yeah.
World Cup final. I think they've played some really impressive cricket, New Zealand. They need they should receive all the plaudits.
So why didn't Sam Curin play? Why didn't he play? Was he injured?
No, he was. They rested the guys who were playing IPL, Norman, because so that's why he didn't feature in the series. And you know, Joss Butler didn't play. Stokes is injured. The demands on the players across the board. And so this is no excuse for their level of performance. But you know, the New Zealanders have players who are out. So, but they seem to have managed their involvement in the IPL a bit better than we have, I think. So.
David, can you speak a little bit louder, David? Your microphone just is a bit soft. Can you speak a bit louder? Oh, well, David will come back.
We lost him. Yeah.
He's all right. He'll come back. He had a bad connection. So, look, Thank you.
So,
Alan,
Norman, I know you're running the show. Have we got some breaking news about?
we have now that Alan's here, we have some specific breaking news. Not only will we have the channel which we have here, which is Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochsang, Alan and I are going to have a specific channel called Normally, and that'll be around the whole aspect of the careers of cricketers all around the world and the connections that Alan has and that I have. We're going to have there's a spin-off of this called Normality. I haven't told David about that, but we're going to have another program that'll be very much specifically about around legends, around cricket, around anecdotal aspects of cricket. Whereas my channel is more specific to the game we're watching. Alan and I will have one which will be all about the history of cricket, many experiences that Alan's had with a range of players. David's had many as well. I'm going to bring people on that I have contact to. I'm hoping to get Neil Harvey. In fact, another aspect of the people we're bringing on is, well, through Alan's help, Simon Dewell will also be a part of us, hopefully, and his contacts. We're going to bring both a present feel to this show and then a historical look at cricket. And I think, Naresh, that's a great idea, don't you?
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful, yeah.
Like they can come in, like, obviously, Norman, I'm meant to be, Naresh, in India coaching in the Punjab region, but because of the COVID, I can't. So we're doing lots of stuff now to build things up with the Ashes, etc.
Okay.
Because we could be doing so many things over there, like go for the Punjab coaching, make our way down on the Indian trains with people. So I've been to India many times. I love the place.
Yeah.
And make our way down to Punjab, Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, and my first time to India, Naresh, was with Western Australia when I was 18, 19. Now, you've got to bear in mind, have you been to Australia?
I have been to Melbourne for the 2015 final. Just docked in for those 3 days for the New Zealand Australia final.
Perth is not a bad spot. Nothing happens.
But Alan, but we're going to be careful not to tell too much because we want to hold it back for the show.
Yeah.
But that's, and then there'll be branding and all a bit of a dangle. So that's the first taste of it, but that's going to be very much through Alan's connections, the players that he deals with, the history that he has had, as well as moving into the travel aspect of cricket. And there are various locations as COVID simmers away. This will be more about the current events of the day, but Alan will be with me.
But also, what I want to do with yourself in time with India, obviously coaching in Punjab, and the reason I had to move office, by the way, Naresh, is I'm doing some house renovations. I'm in my bedroom. I had to change a few things, like photo, Bob Marley photo, which I didn't want to look at really because he's doing this. Because it's thunderstorms as well. So I'll just wait for it's cold. I want the polar bears, the Eskimos, and Noah's Ark to come past because it's cold and it's wet.
So I do that, Norman and Alan, I do that in India, taking teams around playing cricket, within domestic circuit.
I was there before, a few times, coaching youngsters, and it's brilliant. This will make you laugh, Naresh. I was between Delhi and Berkeley and somewhere, and it was brilliant. And I was coaching 80 youngsters, as you can imagine, with 2 cricket nets, Indian style. Right? 80 children, 1 coach, me, and 1 translator, right, to translate my English to Hindi and backwards. And the youngsters, aged 10 to 12, spoke English better than the translator.
All right, Alan, before we go any further on that, I want to bring in some of the questions that are being asked by people. Let's go back to those. There's questions like raised, which are people like Simon who gives excuses of Stokes and Butler missing, but the top 5 are the same for England. It's true, the batting order was still, upper order was the same, so they didn't really change on that. We have discussions as well about probably the most interesting thing for me is there's a bit of backlash about England's performance. Now, let's not take away from the fact that New Zealand played really, really well. I think you have to understand that the New Zealand bowling, in particular Matt Henry, with the likes of Bolt supporting, bowled particularly well in that second match. And it's going to be a real test for India's batting side. And we're going to talk about India and New Zealand in a minute at some length. But the fact is that England didn't play as well, granted, but they still had a truckload of players out. One of their Ben Stokes, the Currans, the Butlers and Bairstows, they had Jofra Archer out. They had quite a few of their players out. So they have to be understood to have not been well in terms of their bowling. But their batting was a bit weak up top, and I'm a bit disappointed. There was a bit of inconsistency. Although Rory Burns came through pretty well. He played well. I thought he was good. But okay. David Graven's not here, but he might be here now. Is that better, David?
Yeah.
The professor, he's back.
I'm back. Always backs back out, so don't worry.
So, David, we were just talking about you. It's perfect timing. If you were a selector, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to answer this, but what selection did you think not having a spinner in the England side hurt them?
Well, as a former spinner for 23 years, what do you think, Norman?
I think yes.
I don't think we have the batsmen, apart from Joe Root and Ben Stokes. I don't think we have the bowlers. I think Anderson's past it. Now, I had a great chat with Shane Warne when I retired, right, after 17 years of county cricket. And Darren Gough and Ronnie Irani at Essex said, Alan, why are you retiring? We'll give you a 3-year contract right now. But before they said that, I knew I was going to retire. Ian Chappell said to Shane Warne, when Warnie said, what do you think? Ian Chappell said to Warnie, very simple. You know when, and Greg, you know this. You just know when the time's come. But also, I guess when you're at that level of warning, whatever. You want to retire when people are asking, why are you retiring? As opposed to, why aren't you retiring? Because they only remember your past year or two, not all the great stuff you've done. So I think Anderson, past it. Broad, goodbye. I think Jofra Archer is extremely overrated. I don't think we have any top order batsmen. We've got Root, we've got Stokes, we do have Butler. Wonderful. We've lost a lot of players because they focused so much on the one-day game.
And that's some great points there.
Opinion. That's Simon Doole's opinion from talking to other guys as well. He agreed totally. First thing he said to me when I spoke to him today, Simon Doole, Graz, he goes, where's all the batsmen gone? And I replied by saying, where's all the commentators gone? Because they're rubbish. Bring back Richie Bellow. That's what I said to him. He goes, where's all the batsmen gone? Now, I don't think we've got the top order batsmen, apart from Joe. Joe is brilliant. Stokes is brilliant. I think Archer's overrated. Anderson, you've had your time, mate. Sorry. Do you want to play to your 50? Because you got the most wickets? You've had your time. Well played. Stuart Broad, Chris Broad, right arm or whatever.
I must stop you there. I must say that not having Ben Stokes and not having Sam Curran were losses.
I think Broad was
right. The strength of batting of what I would say conventional red ball players, people who put a value on their stumps, there's not many options, basically. They all want to play white ball cricket.
And that's where England is focused. What do you make of Graz? What do you make of George Dogle, the journalist?
He's a force, definitely.
Well, he wrote. I can read it out if you like. He wrote an article here somewhere on Cricket Info. And I like with journos, Grab. I couldn't really care less. But where did he put it? Put it here somewhere.
Okay, just quickly, guys. We're going to talk more. We're going to go flowing in and out of discussions, but the England-New Zealand games are over now. We have a substantial match that's going to be happening, and I'm going to talk about that in some length. We've got Gil joining us as well. How are you, Gil?
I'm good. Hello to everyone.
Hi, good.
So,
long time.
Yeah.
So, Gurkha, Gil, you have David Graveney, Alan Mullally, Naresh, and myself. Now, I was just talking about the fact that we've talked a bit about the game between England and New Zealand. We're going to come back to that with David and Alan. But I want to just stress, I want David and Alan's take on this. And I keep saying this, the next match we're about to see on June 18th should be seen as the most significant cricket match in the world, based on the fact that it's the so-called pinnacle of Test cricket, being the World Test Championship. Admittedly, it's its first go. There's been some chinks in the armour, but the fact is this match should be held on a pedestal as a significant crown jewels because of the fact that the winner will be the first inaugural World Test champion, and that is something that should stand as highly regarded as a World Cup 50 over or 20 over, or for that matter, the Ashes or other tournaments that have gone on in the past. What do you think, Alan?
I think because of what's been going on with this Chinese virus, Wuhan plague, COVID-19, call it what you want, over the past 18 months, whatever it is, I think it should have been cancelled for another 3 or 4 years. That's my personal opinion. Because, I mean, like Australia, how can they go not play cricket and get above everybody else?
But you have to start somewhere. Alan, you have to start somewhere.
How can you play a test match in a country which isn't yours, like Pakistan playing in Dubai, and how can you not go to play test? It's just wrong. You can call it what you want. As a cricketer, if I was walking out there to play for England at Lords against the West Indies, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, whoever, the best 2 teams in the world, I would like to know I'm going to play against the best test team in the world with us for the pinnacle of test cricket. The past 18 months has just shook it all up. Big time. I mean,
okay, I disagree with you vehemently, Alan, because we need this.
One minute we're playing a test match in Perth. No, we can't go to Perth. We're going to play in Adelaide. And there's a massive difference in playing a test match in Perth as opposed to Adelaide or Sydney or Melbourne or India as opposed to South Africa. So personally, I just think scrap it. Now, I'm not saying that because I played for England and England's not playing or India is playing and the West Indies aren't. I don't care. I want to see the best cricket from the best 2 test teams. And I think that, I'll tell you, and Ravi Shastri said after the test series against England, given the state of the situation in the world at the moment, he said, who won or lost this test series? He said, I'm not really bothered. I'm just so proud of both teams to be able to get out there and play cricket for the public.
Okay,
I think about Norman. My routine would be this, okay? Test match. Okay, test match starts on a Thursday. Meet the guys on the Tuesday morning. Say, I'm playing at Lords, right? Drive up Monday night, Tuesday morning. Lunchtime, meet the guys. Afternoon, bit of a training session. Laugh and joke, get to know your teammate, especially if you're making your test debut, to meet your new teammates. Go out for tea. Then come the next day, Wednesday, get stuck in, have a good training session, or maybe the Tuesday, hard training session, meet your teammates, and show what you can do, etc. Then come game day Thursday, you go and do your stuff. Whereas with this COVID stuff, it's like they've gone from, like, my point being, you can also then, hang on, and also after a day's play, go back to your hotel, you can stay in your room, watch a movie, have room service. You can go out and have fun in a wine bar, or go and watch it to cinema with your girlfriend or wife, or you can go to the gym, or to the pool, or the beach. These guys that wake up in the morning, have their breakfast, on the bus, to the ground, play, shower, bus, home, hotel, room, day in, day out for 3-4 months. And that's where Ravi Shastri was so proud of both England and India. That's not going to produce who is the best test team. That's why I say it should be delayed. That's my opinion.
No, that's fine, Alan. The reality is it's here, and we have to.
It's a false reality.
Okay, but it's here. We have to deal with that, and I think that it should be now dealt with in the way that.
It's not a false reality. It's all about marketing and money. And yep, here we go. It's not going to say who is the best test team.
But in the future, okay, back in 1975, when the 50 over World Cup started for men, in fact, it already had taken place with women before that. When it first started, there were equally as much dissension about the format of that. Firstly, they were still wearing white clothing, but the reality is that there was a certain amount of dissension, especially from the English, about the length of the match and it not being cricket.
And the Australians, I watched it, I know it very well. Hang on, 1 second. You're going from Test match cricket and the establishment, the ICC, I call them the Toffee-Nosed Gin and Tonic Brigade, right? Graveney, I've told them that as well. Well, we run this show and we're going to tell you how much we're going to pay you and what you can do, what you can't do. And then Kerry Packer came along and said, I'm sorry, not going to happen that way. I'll do it myself. And that's how it worked. You know that, Norman, right? So that's a false. That's a hang on. hang on, that's a far different cry from who is the best test team in the world, given the fact that, guys, you know something? For me, it would be a living nightmare. You're full of energy, you're full of adrenaline. You get to a hotel, you put your tracksuit on, your training gear, you're down the ground training, or you go to the gym, the pool, your mind's all on, let's get ready. These guys are stuck in a hotel or quarantine for 12 days. Then they have to go and play, a test match after running on a treadmill in their bedroom? Doesn't work that way. So that's just my opinion. I think it's rubbish.
No, no. I respect that, because you've played the game at that level, and you have a right to say you played enough Test cricket. So the reality is, it's here, and I'm somebody who tries to seize the moment, and I think it's. I'm just happy that we've got cricket on at all, to be honest with you. And look, we've had detractors from tournaments before. And look, they've had shaky starts. 50 over didn't start perfectly, nor did 20 overs start. Nor did IPL necessarily. Nor did look at the hundreds going pretty badly in terms of having had a season of no game. The reality now we have a World Test Championship, and a lot of people are discussing on the side commentary here about how the game will go. And look, there's more and more discussion coming out about New Zealand. I'm bringing Simon Dool, hopefully through Alan, onto the program very shortly, as well, to discuss this. But I would argue that this is going to be an extremely important match for New Zealand, because it could be their Sri Lankan moment. Gil, you know what I'm talking about there. When Sri Lanka won the 96 World Cup. That was a moment for Sri Lanka. It actually brought Sri Lanka onto the map.
Mind you, they couldn't play half their games in Sri Lanka because of the Tamils.
Yeah, fair enough.
Apparently.
Gil, what do you think? What's your take on this?
I don't think it would be as big as Sri Lanka winning the World Cup, because New Zealand are still a pretty well-established side now. They won the Champions Trophy, I think, back in 2000. So they already have an ICC trophy, and they've been to a couple of finals of the World Cup, and they've done decently in the T20 World Cup as well. But yes, it is a good possibility that success in this WTC might help them promote the game a lot more in their country, and probably ensure that there are more cricketing heroes, because it's a small nation. It's a small nation who don't have cricket as their major sport. They are much more inclined to follow rugby. So maybe this might help them in making cricket the number one sport. I'm not saying it will happen eventually, because there's a huge following and a legacy with regards to their rugby team. But yes, it is going to be a step forward in terms of making sure that cricket becomes more popular in New Zealand.
Naresh, what's your thoughts?
No, like Norman, I heard Alan out also, but my view was more of the importance that the Test cricket has to survive. Whatever happened with the change of the point system and the teams moving up and down due to those changes, couldn't tour because of the COVID. ICC stuck to the point that they want to complete one cycle of the World Test Championship. So I think that credit needs to be given, that they didn't give it up. Because the local bodies or the domestic like the IPL or the Caribbean League, all that would have still gone on, and that would have given a wrong impression that Test cricket is not that important. So I think it's being striking that balance on the revival, and that's the reason World Test Championship came into its form, to revive Test cricket. From that, but yes, the teams really go through a lot of struggle in a different manner when it comes to the bio bubbles, but that was happening even when they were playing white ball cricket. So it's created the excitement. That is very good. New Zealand since 2015 has been on a high. To be honest, they played 2 finals. Unfortunately, lost to the host countries in both those finals, and here they are in the Test Championship. So I think it's good for cricket overall, from all the formats perspective, to see that every format is taken seriously, especially what we saw India do in Australia, the youngsters. That's going to build more interest. What even New Zealand is doing, that's going to bring in a lot of interest in Test cricket. IPL, T20, rather, Indian cricketers are okay playing IPL, but it's okay if they don't. That's not how they should approach if they don't play the national team. But that's revived the performance in Australia, and now what New Zealand is doing and their youngsters are doing, with nearly their leading players not playing the second test and they're winning it against England. So overall, it's a striking balance they had to create and move on, that the sport has to go on. Like the Olympics got moved from last year to this year, they're going on. Pandemic is still there. So the governing body, who are the custodian of the game, have to take that decision, and I feel it is good that the first cycle is coming to an end.
Don't get me wrong, guys. Norman, don't get me wrong. I agree totally about having a World Cup of Test match cricket. Absolutely. The best two teams, okay, India, New Zealand. That's the first one. It's new, like the World Cup. It's all new stepping stones. Played at Lord's. I would like to see New Zealand play India in India, and then India play New Zealand in New Zealand. Then, or maybe for the best of three, and then play the third one, Lords. Whatever, it's all new. But I agree. I think it would be, to walk out on the ground against, I don't know, when I played India, the best two teams in the world, who wins this is like win the World Cup. I think it's absolutely awesome. I really do. I just can't get my head around how. I guess what I'm trying to say is this COVID-19 is just throwing a massive spanner in the works for everybody.
No doubt.
That's all. Because some countries are affected more than others. I mean, I'm here in Perth, Naresh and Gil, right? And Norman, you know. But the United Kingdom fits into Western Australia, like the whole of the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. 14 times. That means the population here would be, per the population to there, 960 million people, okay? Now, you guys are used to a lot of people. I've been there. We have 2.2 million people in the whole state. And we have one person who comes off a boat or an airplane. Oh, he's got COVID-19. He goes to quarantine. The whole state is shut down.
It's shut, yeah.
That's paranoia.
We're pretty ruthless.
No, that's paranoia. That's neurosis. That's neurotic and psychotic. That's crazy. Even now, right? There's not one case of COVID-19 anywhere in Western Australia, right? People have been vaccinated once, twice, and yet they're still wearing a mask. I saw a guy the other morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, in a car on his own. There's no one for miles with a mask on because the politicians are brainwashing them. I'm not going to go political, I know very well. It's just crazy.
Okay. Now, just quickly, I want to take you back to another point. I spoke to someone today, I think her name's Stephanie. What happens in Australian airports is if one plane arrives, let's say Air Canada from Canada, they arrive, they go through, no one else is allowed in the terminal. Air Canada's passengers go through the terminal, get checked in or checked through, and they go out. Once they're out of the terminal, the next plane goes through. There's a distinction between each plane. I find that incredible. I can't imagine that happening at a bigger airport like in India or England. It's quite an incredible phenomenon. That's so much of the whole airport's dedicated to that one plane trip. Quite incredible. So anyway, enough about COVID. Let's go back to this.
We don't want to get into, Norman, let's just get one thing straight. Let's not go into the Chinese virus, the facts, the figures, the science. Now, you know full well, I've dropped everything from England and India to look after my 83-year-old mum. I know it back to front. The facts, the figures, the N1 mask, what they cost per week in Australia. Do they work? No. Scientifically proven, masks do not work. It has been proven. Don't wear a mask.
True. Unless you change every 3 hours, you're right.
Don't have a lockdown. There is no difference. Now, ask me
this. Okay. Look, I don't want to.
Who dies more? Who's passed away more last year of the flu? Given the fact that the Americans are not the healthiest, or the Japanese, and the Japanese wear a mask because of the climate, green gases coming out of China. Call it what you want. Who has suffered more? Who's passed away more from the flu last year? Japan have a very healthy diet, or the Americans? 40% more Japanese passed away from the flu.
Okay, Alan, we don't want to talk about that, please. Alan, let's leave that, please. Okay, let's go back to the. Okay, now let's get back. Return to what I was talking about. Alan brought up a good point, and I think we spoke about it yesterday. Gil, I want to talk to Naresh about this. The whole But we still are trying to mould this tournament, the so-called World Test Championship, into something. There's been a lot of conjecture as to have the 3 matches or 1. Have, as Alan said, 1 in India, 1 in New Zealand, and 1 somewhere neutral. First and foremost, I don't think that'll happen because of the sheer logistics of it and the time consumption. That'll be knocked on the head. COVID's another reason. But the third reason is to truly have a tournament with the spectacle of a match, which means all on the table is 1 match. And we can talk about, one's more favoured. Like, for example, New Zealand's more favoured than India because it's in English conditions. It's not relevant because these are the circumstances which they've got to take on. They've got to make best of it, both sides, and play their best. That's it. Like when India came to Australia, everything was against India, but India took it on the nose and said, right, we're going to win this match, especially the match together, and they did.
Phenomenal.
And I find that the most exciting thing about cricket is when you least expect that something happens. So if you've got one ground with all the condition issues put to one side, whether it be hot or cold, overcast or rainy, whatever the conditions are, the game has to be played and you have to win it on that day. The additional issue of a 6th day, which will be if a day is rained out, I believe it's the full day. Gil, is that right? If it's a full day of rain, the 6th day comes into play. That's fantastic.
I think it's considerable time lost due to rain. It could be in 2 days, half day. If you lose, then probably the 6th day would, and I think that's the call the third umpire would take, or ICC would take. Considerable time. Match referee would take,
Well,
but Norman, this concept was
So I was going to quickly say, as long as they bowl 450 overs, that's all we need to really worry about. How they do it is their matter.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of changes. There will be a lot of changes going ahead, because this was picked up, with the FTP already existing. There was a future tours program going on between the bilateral series, and ICC just took it from there and started ranking people with points and then saying, okay, at this point of time, we will end it with the final. There'll be lots happening. Currently the home team has an home advantage, and that still remains. India go to New Zealand. New Zealand has a say in pitch conditions. England came to India. India has a say in pitch conditions. All that would take really a long time if that needs to get neutralized to make it more competitive. But it's a long way through. But from the concept perspective, I think we need to give credit that there is some meaning coming out now with Test cricket.
I agree. Naresh, I agree with you 1,000,000%. All the T20, all the one-day stuff, all the commercialised cricket, the Caribbean Premier League, the Pakistan League, the IPL, here, the Big Bash, England, it's all money spinning. And that's great. However, Naresh, I agree so hard. Test cricket's where is that? Test cricket. That sorts out the men from the boys. And no one else agree with you. Yep, play on. Okay, things aren't perfect with the COVID, lockdowns, stay here, stay there, can't play here, can't go to the gym there. Doesn't matter. Get out and play. Like the World Series, just get out and play. And then we'll take it from there and we'll make it from there and learn and learn and learn.
Exactly.
And then maybe 5 years' time, 8 years' time, 10 years' time, we will have it perfect where India may be playing Australia. Sorry, lads, you're both playing in the West Indies.
Yeah.
To sort of who's the best team. They'll balance up who's done what scientifically, and I don't know. But like Kerry Packer and the World Series and the T20, it's a bit of an experiment. And I'll tell you what, once they pull this off after this COVID-19, I think it'd be brilliant. It's just, I guess, for me being the cricketer, it's like, and the competitor, it's like, is that really the best team? In terms of, but I make a mistake. Take a step back. You're dead right. It's going to be brilliant. Play it, see what happens, and make it better.
Oh, exactly right. And that's perfectly right.
It's like when you write a song, you start off with a couple of notes, a couple of chords, and then this and that, and boom, add this and take that and put this away, and add a drum here, and add this here, and take the next thing you know, you've got a number 1 hit.
Okay,
That makes
Gil.
sense at all.
A good point, Alan. Gil and Naresh, I want you to tell me, people keep gnawing away and saying that Washington and Sunda should be opening. What's the credibility of this? We're hearing this a lot. It's coming up a lot in question time.
So he's in the domestic cricket and in the Ranji Trophy. He's opened for Tamil Nadu, his side on occasions, and he's done well. And he's done well with the bat, and also has the batting capability. But I still don't think he should be opening in England. Especially in the final of the WTC, you'd much rather play someone like a Shubman Gill, who's been your opener in the last series and the last success, who also did well in Australia. Apart from this, if you still have any doubts, there are other players who are ahead in the pecking order.
Exactly.
Before Washington Sundar, there's Mayank Agarwal who's in the squad. There's KL Rahul in the squad. The likes of Hanuma Vihari can also open because he also has batted in the top three in Ranji Trophy for as long as he's been playing for Andhra Pradesh in the Ranji Trophy. And he also opened once when back in 2018 when Mayank Agarwal made his debut on the Boxing Day in MCG. He was the one who opened with him. So I don't see this happening, and I really don't think that Washington Sundar should open with Rohit Sharma. Clearly not yet. He really needs to do that a lot more often in first class cricket, then probably for India, for him to be even considered to be opening for India.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. I just want to squash that because there's a lot of discussion on Washington Sundar, understandably because of what happened at the Gabba. Shardul Thakur, understandably because of what happened at the Gabba. Even to an element of Siraj, but more justifiably with Siraj. Obviously, Rishabh Pant. Those four players, and even Gill, they were the ones that really stood out in that last match. I understand they're the youth of the future for India, and they are to be understood that way. And there's going to be a changing of the guard at some stage of Sharma's, Rahani's, and the like. There's going to be a change in the guard at some stage. We have to see it. Not unlike what happened with VVS Laxman and the like with Ganguly back in those days. There's a moment that's going to happen. When that will be, we don't know. But I think they're not going to change it. But imagine if India have, which I'm expecting they do, the tried and tested side that's been playing the intra-team tournament or game today. They've had, obviously, well, Gill's new, of course, as in young, but Sharma with Pujara, Kohli, Rahane. They're going. If they don't succeed in this match, it could be a turning point. Or the series against England, there's going to be a turning point. They're the best players, I don't doubt that, but there could be enough emphasis then given to that happening. What do you guys think of that?
So I think there is going to be pressure on the likes of Pujara and Rahane to some extent if they don't do well in this series, because like you said, there are players waiting in the wings. But it depends on how you're going to look at it. If you are going to look at it in absolute numbers, then you may not do justice to analyzing the performance accordingly. Say you cannot be expecting both Rohit Sharma and say someone like an Ajinkya Rahane to score the same amount of runs because their role is different. If Rohit Sharma is able to score even 300 runs in the series, where his average time spent on the crease is 1.5 hour, where he's facing 70 to 80 balls, then I think he's done his job. On the other hand, if Rohit Sharma has given you those 300 runs in 5 to 6 test matches, you would want someone like an Ajinkya Rahane who's going to come and bat at 5. You'd at least want him to score 400 runs because the roles are different. He's going to be coming in at a much later stage where the ball may not be swinging as much as it will do when Rohit's opening the innings. So you have to be cognizant of the fact that you take into mind the roles that they're playing. Similarly with Cheteshwar Pujara as well. What Cheteshwar Pujara has been doing over the last few years, especially the 3-4 years, is that he's eliminated the risk element in his game completely. He hardly plays the pull and the hook, and he doesn't even try and cut the ball unless it's on the 6th or the 7th stump. He doesn't even attempt the cut on the 5th stump. So he's completely eliminated that risk out of his game. And that is why many a times you see that he's played 100 balls but only scored 15 or 20 runs. And he's not scored a century in the last 2 years. His last 100 actually came in Sydney in 2019. But it still wouldn't be fair to say that he hasn't done the job. Because if you look at the last 2 tests that India played in Australia, he scored 350s. And I'd say that a lot of the chase which came about in Gabba revolved around around the youngsters batting around him because he provides that stability. So they'll have to judge how these players perform before taking a call. You cannot be judging their impact based on absolute numbers. There are a lot of things that will come into play.
Okay, I'm going to throw some more questions, guys. Let's get some of these questions up. What are the chances of Bahari playing 11? Naresh?
Not straight away.
Yeah, not in the finals. He's more a backup number 5 for Rahane, or as Gurkrit said, that he probably has even opened in the past. But I think with KL and Mayank around, that possibility is not there. But in the finals of the championship, Bahari, I don't see him play in the 11. India will have to give up on a bowler for that, which I don't think will happen.
Okay. So what? Okay. Now I know, Gil. Did you put your 11 on yesterday's commentary? Didn't you? I didn't see that of Kesh of the rest of them. So what was your 11?
So my 11 for the World Test Championship was Gill and Rohit opening, Pujara at 3, Kohli at 4, Rahane at 5, Pant at 6, Jadeja at 7, Ashwin at 8, and then 9, 10, 11 being Ishant, Bumrah, and Shami. One change that can happen, which is between Shami and Siraj, and I would have personally picked the one of them who's done well in the intra-squad game. But unfortunately, we don't know much about the intra-squad game, so it's anybody's guess. So that is going to be my 11. And as far as Bahari is concerned, I think he will only come into play in the picture when, say, you have a green track, when you have a pitch which was there in Lords last year, 2018, or in Lords in 2014, when you have an absolute greenish wicket, where you know that 3 pacers are going to be enough, and you just need 1 spinner, and you need to elongate the batting. Then I think Hanuma Vihari will come in at number 6 with Rishabh Pant at 7, and then Ravindra Jadeja at 8. Because on pitches which will have that much of seam and swing, where you know that the 3 fast bowlers can do the job, then you need someone like a Hanuma Vihari. Or if, like I said, if one of your mainstays isn't doing the job, say Ajinkya Rahane is not giving you runs, or even Rohit Sharma or Shubman Gill is not doing the job at the top, then you can probably bring him in. But on pitches where there is going to be something for the batsman as well, if they set in and can score runs, I find it difficult that India will move away from the 5 bowler theory. And you've got to keep in mind what happened in the last tour in Australia as well, where whenever India had 5 bowlers, they were essentially playing only 4 because one bowler got injured in every test. So it's hard for Hanuma Vihari to fit in unless the team that starts in WTC, one of the batsmen doesn't do well consistently. Probably you might see Hanuma Vihari come in the 3rd test, or maybe in Trent Bridge if the pitch is such, but not starting.
Can I ask a question to all of that, Norman? I ain't going to get stuck in. Just because I'm confused. I was lying in bed this morning, believe it or not. I was in bed, believe it or not, right? Thinking about cricket. I was thinking, because Shane Warne said Virat's a better player than Sachin a while ago. And I played against Sachin. And I watched Virat bat, Virat Kohli. I'm trying. You guys, you can help me out because they're both class. Virat comes across like a David Gower, just elegance, makes it look easy. Whereas Sachin comes across, I don't know really, as a genius. But I don't know how to describe him because he is a genius. But on the eye, they're both brilliant. But Virat is so easy on the eye. Virat's kind of go where you watch him bat. He's got 1, he's got 3, he's got 5. You go make a cup of tea, he's got 60. Whereas Sachin's like bang, bang, bang. But just, I know they're playing against different players. Like Sachin had Warney and McGrath and Wasim and Wacker and Donald. And I was lying in bed this morning, but I did wake up thinking about this, right? Because it woke me up at 4 in the morning. Kohli's just pure class and pure elegance. But then so is Sachin, but in a different way. Help me. Who do you think is better? Who thinks more stylish? More elegant? Because I know they're both brilliant. And you'd pay money for, like Lara as well. Big backlip goes back and...
These are discussions we're going to explore more on normality.
Club cricket and all sorts over the years. Who's the best? Well,
I think
they're all just brilliant. They're all just brilliant in their own way.
Well, it's not about comparing different styles. You're right. Look, Alan, that's a normality effort. That is, you're going to bring Brian Lara on because your mate. All right, we're going to talk about it with him. Now,
well, John, I gave you Sanction's number.
all right. Now, back
and Gang
now.
Gourley and Steve Hawes.
Okay, Alan. Now, back to the point that
changing topic for 1 second. I had a fantastic, I made last night, homemade chicken tikka with salad and couscous.
Now, viewers, Alan's not starting up a cooking show, thank God. Okay, we're not having a cooking show with Alan because it would not be riveting.
My ex-girlfriend was a fine dining chef. Stop laughing, you.
All right, we digress. Now, look, I
was
agree. Now, Alan, I agree with Gil. I'm afraid that's going to be the team. That 11/12 with the. So that's going to. Naresh, do you agree?
Absolutely agree. Yeah, any three of the four seamers. Yes, I would also prefer Ishant, Shami, and Bumrah playing. But there have been hints given of Siraj playing. But that's fine. Any three of the four. But otherwise, I absolutely agree with Gurpreet's side. Yeah.
Now, it's understandable why India are picking this side. We understand that. It's a World Test Championship. All is on the line. You want players that have proven at that level and have done their jobs, okay? And I think even though the Washington Sundars and the Shuttle Tuckers, even Akshar Patel, you can keep naming players that could get in the side. That's the side that's going to go ahead. All right, we'll move that to one side now. You're going to go. Gil, do you have to go?
In 5 minutes, but
Okay.
I'll take your question.
I want you to start with your 11 for New Zealand, and I don't want any half-heartedness. I don't want any sitting on the fence. I want your
Don't
team.
ask me.
So
I'm going to ask you. We're asking you.
Yeah, like we discussed yesterday. Like we discussed yesterday, I think there's a very good chance that New Zealand may not play a spinner at all, considering their spinners are Santner and Ajaz Patel. Firstly, I think Ajaz Patel is a better spinner than Santner when it comes to Test cricket because he's showcased that he has a lot more patience than what Mitchell Santner has. With Mitchell Santner, you've seen the tendency, throw one or two odd bad deliveries every over. And like we got to know yesterday, since 2016, the first test was probably the first test when he took when he took 2 wickets in an innings. So he's not even a wicket taking option per se, and he's not going to trouble Indian batsmen that much.
No.
The other reason why I say that Ajaz Patel will not make it, because if you look at the other bowling options, they are much more potent against the Indian batting lineup than an Ajaz Patel. If you tell the Indian batsmen that they will be facing one spinner from one end at any point of time, they'll happily take it, as opposed to having one seamer or one medium pace bowler. So I think there's a good chance it would be a bold move where New Zealand comes in with 5 pacers, where the 5 pacers would be Tim Southee, Trent Boult, Neil Wagner, Matt Henry, and Kyle Jamieson. It would be a slight risk because then you will have Kyle Jamieson batting at 7, but I think it's a risk worth taking against this Indian batting lineup. And then the top 6 would be Latham, Conway, Williamson at 3, Taylor at 4, Henry Nichols at 5, and BJ Watling at 6. I know, Norman, you've been saying that you like Will Young, and he's done well, but I think he's not very experienced, and he's going to have trouble playing this Indian attack. If you look at the modes of dismissal which Ishant Sharma usually gets, he's able to tie down batsmen on the stumps and get a lot of right-handed batsmen LBW or bowled. And Ravichandran Ashwin also does well against such batsmen. So I think New Zealand will not risk playing Will Young in the final. They will again go with the tried and tested and the experienced batting lineup. The only issue for them is going to be figuring out who will be their number 7. Will it be Colin de Grandhomme, or will it be Jamieson? If they go in with Colin de Grandhomme, then I think they will continue to play with Jamieson, considering how he did against India in 2020 February when India had toured New Zealand, and they'll probably leave out Matt Henry. But if they decide to go in with Matt Henry, then I think they will have to drop Paul and Grando.
Gil, what end would Jasprit Bumrah bowl from? Pavilion end or the nursery ground end?
Yes, vendor, absolutely.
Which end would he bowl from? If you know your cricket, at Lords, what end?
It's not Lords, it's Southampton.
It's not. It's Southampton. It's Southampton.
Oh my lord, that's my home ground.
Well, then you should be able to tell us all about that ground, then, for God's sake. You're the most experienced person in this panel.
I'm thinking Lords. I'm thinking Trent Bolt, Pavilion end. Okay. Well, the GS Bowl. It's funny, when I played there, here's a story for you. When they first had the grounds called the Rose Bowl, when Shane Warne joined Hampshire in 2000, I was there, we changed in porter cabins. We couldn't even change the main pavilion, and there was no stands. And now it's so brilliant. And it's funny that they got stands. It's amazing when you put a stand into a stadium, it changes everything. The wind,
it does.
Atmosphere,
it does.
The whole lot. It's incredible. And when I was playing there, Norman and you guys, the wicket was not bouncing above knee high because it's a new wicket. Or a new square. It takes several years to bed. It depends what wicket they put down. In terms of what pitch I'll tell you how much money have you guys got. Norman's got my
curator.
I'll make a phone call.
The curator said that the pitch will. The curators.
And Gil, hang on, Gil. Bit of match fixing. Norman's got my bank account. I can No, I'm joking.
I'm not into that stuff, but
it's a fantastic stadium. I would like to see a fair, even, good cricket wicket.
That's what the curator said.
Hang on, Gil, I'm talking. Not like in New Zealand where, like England conditions, helps swings and suits the bowlers more than batsmen, really. Stats will prove that. Or India, where the good batting wickets will turn. How about a good cricket wicket? Good even bounce, good pace. It should do a bit for the seamers in the first hour and a half. Then from then to up to late day 2, it should be good for batting and good for Test cricket. And then come day 3, in come the spinners, maybe day 4. Then day 5, hopefully a great game. If I was Jasprit Bumrah, I would bowl from the pavilion end.
Right, which is the southern end, isn't it?
I don't know. It's just the end of the dressing room. I walked out and played and got 8 and 9. And
it's the southern end. I know that much. I know the pavilion end. It's the southern end.
They've changed the names. Times change.
I remember saying,
if I was Trent Bolt, because you don't get the breeze there, it's just different. It depends on conditions for the bowler. Jasprit's not a big swing bowler. He's just fast, and I think he's brilliant. He can bowl either end, really. Whereas for Trent Bolt, he relies more on conditions and swing in terms of what end you'll bowl. Now I've got a question for Naresh, who's very observant, if you don't mind me. If you would ask me my 5, not the best, my 5 favourite, and this is one for your guys online, Norman, my 5 favourite bowlers. I'm not
ever.
Favourite, yes. More than one.
Hang on. Does that include you or exclude you?
Well, I'm not in there, of course I'm not.
Gil?
I was rubbish. I couldn't even bat.
All right, go on, Naresh. Go on. Be careful because Alan can throw things.
And why?
5 best.
Hang on, sorry, Naresh. Sorry, just one moment. About what we were talking about earlier. They're all overcoached. If you go and coach someone, it hurts their feelings. I'm sorry, you're falling away at the crease. Whatever. My 5 favourite bowlers. They're unorthodox. They're left hand, they're right hand, they're fast, they're spin. Different countries, my 5 favourite. And some of them you rate as the top of all time. I'll give you a hint. Okay, one's from the West Indies. Naresh, one's from the West Indies. Now just think, I said he's unorthodox. He's from the Caribbean. In terms of the coaching manual. He's from Barbados. Right-handed.
Ambrose.
Curtly Ambrose is there.
It's going to be Malcolm Marshall.
Malcolm Marshall.
Okay. Another one's from a place called Lahore.
Lahore is.
Who said to Safra, no worries, can I please borrow your boots? I don't have any.
Wasim Akram. Wasim Akram.
Yeah, Gil, yeah. Okay, so you got Wasim. You got Mako. Now, another one is from Cape Town. He's a left armer. In his language of, oh God, is it Tutsi or Xhosa? Or I think it's Xhosa. It's called Ho. That's his name in his language. Ho. Right? In English. Pardon?
No, but he's left armer. No.
You know, Rabada is right-hander. Yeah, so left armer.
I promise you. And in his language, in I think it's Xhosa, you say ho.
Oh, right? Look, what are you talking about now? You lost me. What are you?
Okay, my third favorite, well, they're all five equal. The third guy is South African. Okay? Now, his African language of Xhosa, which is like Hindi or Urdu, right? In his language of Xhosa, it's called Hoho. That's his name, right? But in English, his first name starts with P, and he's left-handed. He's a spinner. His surname starts with A.
Paul Adams, yeah. Paul Adams,
yeah.
Paul Adams.
Yeah.
Are you saying he's one of the top 5 bowlers?
My 5 favourite bowlers, and I'm then going to tell you why. Just bear with me.
Okay.
So far we've got Malcolm Marshall, Wes Macram, Paul Adams. We've got
Paul,
another
how's
guy.
Paul Adams?
Paul Adams.
The left-arm spinner from South Africa.
Yeah. Chinaman, yeah.
Give it the program, right? In his language, ho, right?
Okay.
Go figure.
Stop swearing.
In English, it's called Paul Adams. So we've got Paul Adams, Malcolm Marshall, Wes Macram. Okay, my other favourite one is Sri Lankan. I'm not going to tell you what he bowls. All the fact he's got a crazy hairdo and he had a ring through his nose.
Malinga.
It's too easy. Okay, so we've got that one. So
are we playing charades here or something?
No.
We got movie and
just bear with me. So we've got Paul Adams, right? Where's Macram? Malcolm Marshall, Malinga. This other fellow I love bowls quick. He's got a crazy run-up. It's not even really a run-up. It's like stop, stutter, turn left, turn right, spin around. He may as well run in, hit that crease and wang it down. He defies all of the bowling coaching manuals, where his front arm does not break. He's Indian. That should give it away. It's one of my favourites.
Bumrah. Yeah, because Bumrah has the, straight hand. Yeah, absolutely straight hand.
I'll leave now.
Okay, guys. Now ask me why are they my 5 favourite bowlers?
Because they're quirky, they're unusual, they're against they're not. Gil, you have to go.
Yeah.
Gil, you got to go.
Yeah. I'll join back again tomorrow.
So Gil, you gave us your Indian New Zealand team, so you're fine. We've got your teams. Thank you, Gil.
Okay.
Namaste.
Bye, Gurukrat. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Now,
Just
the
a quick
reason I say
question.
that, Norman, because those guys defy logic. They defy logic, and yet they are brilliant. Now, my point being, if you're with the program, Norman, if you go up to the journalist and you've played the game, right? George Dobell, the whole lot. We have fitness coaches with the England team. We have physios, masseurs, batting coaches, bowling coaches, fielding coaches. We have statisticians to say, well, you bowled 2 leg stump half volleys. That's why it cost you 4 runs and 8 runs. Really? I think I know that. I play for my country. They have everything there on a plate, right? But they get a little sore toe, could have a month off, right? These guys defy logic, those 5 guys, and they are absolutely brilliant. So my point being is, you don't need your coaching manual.
Yeah.
Just do what comes natural and work.
I think a lot of that. I think it's very important to let the naturalness of a bowler bowl. Don't touch Malinga, Murali, Paul Adams. You're right. I get your point.
And Norman, and yes, I will get Brian Lara on here at some point when it heats up. He's a very good friend of mine, right? And he'll never make it with that backlift and that grip. Really? I think he did all right. I think he did more than all right. So I love guys when they say you can't make it because of your technique. That's rubbish. Because I watch these guys. I guess my point is this. I watch these guys bowling. It's all very mechanical. Load here, do this, do. Where's the rhythm? Where's the music? Where's the pace? Where's this? Where's it's like do this, do that, 83, 84 mile an hour. Like Jasper Bromber, he runs to the crease so smoothly and he's so quick. Yeah, for one ball every 10. Really? So I'll bowl 85, 86 mile an hour, and I'll bowl one at 89, 90. He's quick? I don't think so. Where's the Macram? Jasmine Brumbra, even myself got clocked at 94 mile an hour. Darren Gough. And this guy, I think Archer's well overrated. And I think there's too much stuff. Pat Cummins, the bowler, too mechanical.
Too
I think
mechanical.
Pat Cummins, the right arm, is very fortunate that he's going to be playing against England. I would love to see Pat Cummins bowl to the likes of Brian Lara. He would take him to the clingers. He would.
Yeah, it's actually true because Pat Cummins is somewhat Naresh. You right, Naresh?
Yeah, Norman. Yeah.
I would say that Pat Cummins is you can't use the word predictable, but he's a bit metronome in a way where the ball is of a certain length. It comes up to you, but a good batter would adjust as what Alan said to Brian Lara point. Okay. All right, we've digressed with
They
bowls.
said Glenn McGrath was a metronome, right? No, Glenn McGrath, like Curtly Ambrose, incredibly accurate. Incredibly, and had back up the other end. Curtly, Courtney, McGrath, Warney. Pat Cummins, please. Actually, here's one for you, Roche, and you know, I think I told you this, Norman, when I spoke to Simon Dewell. I said, when India played Australia here, I said, they had their second team and they wiped the floor. And I said to him, because my late father, my dad's gone to heaven now, right? You know, and I said, he said, a champion team will always beat the team of champions. And that Indian team played like the champion team as a unit. And I said, my mum, by the way, don't tell anybody, Maurice, don't tell anybody. My mum sat there and watched, and my mum has followed cricket for a long time. Almost started crying. I told Norman, she's like, these young lads, these youngsters, it's unbelievable. And they almost inspired my mum to go through.
But you've said something very interesting now, Alan. You've said something very interesting, and Naresh, what's your point of view on this? A champion team will always beat a team of champions. The current Indian side, with Kohli, Sharma, a number of players we can mention, there's a lot of champions in that team. But the champion team was more evident in the game at the Gabba, even though they weren't the best players in the team.
Yeah.
So there's something interesting in what Alan has said, and this is my only fear for the Indian side, that we know who they're going to pick. We can always predict the 11/12, but are they a champion team or are they a team of champions? And there's an interesting dichotomy there that needs to be thought of. And
there's some psychology for you now, Norman. The mind of a cricketer.
Yeah, and Norman, on this point, especially the side that played at Gabba, the Indian team, one thing was sure that same 11 would never play together again. All were backups. They all were alternates to your frontline players, you know, and you will not see that 11 ever again playing for India together, because it's a very odd situation to have 5 or 6 injuries for the same game, you know. So they knew they were playing only that one match together, you know, and that's the other spirit they were carrying, that they had to prove it. One most important thing, they came back in the series. It was 1-1 they were going in. Sydney draw psychologically was a win, you know, playing that entire last session.
That was climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, India, come on, boys. I was like, and my mum was like, yes, come on. Imagine my mum, 83, watching it going, get in there, come on. So excited. That's where you're right about, let's play this one off, who's the best test match. It's not a perfect circumstance, but it's a start to say, you know what, you got your T20, you got your World Cup one-day games, but test match cricket is where it's at.
So see, this is what I'm... Okay, if I was a psychologist getting into the dressing room of the Indian team with Ravi Shastri, You know who I would bring in front of the team? Who I would get to talk to the team? I'll tell you who. Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur, except for Al. Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur, maybe even Natarajan. Get them three to stand in front of the group and say what it felt like to play in that fourth test match. The way they were, all the things you've mentioned have been the one and only chance they've got. Put your best foot forward. Go for it as if there's no tomorrow. That's the sort of things that this Indian team needs to hear prior to the match, or into the match. They need to have this attitude.
But also,
everything's on the table here.
Yeah, but now you're also going to remember, everybody works differently. Like you may say to one of the guys, if you run through that brick wall, if you jump off of Mount Everest naked, you'll win that test match. He might go, okay, I'll do that. Other guys, you say the same thing, and they go, you're mad. You go and do it. We're still going to do my best.
Yeah.
It's all people are different.
I really think it's the mental character of the players, Naresh. The mental character of the
Everyone
players
thinks
that
differently.
will win this game.
That's where Ravi Shastri is very good. I know very well.
He plays a very good psychological impact. The way he speaks, the way he is addressing each situation. Yeah,
saying hold the ball this way and do that and try this. And I'd love to be involved there because Jasmine Pumbra, I'm not going to change what you do, but maybe try this and try that. Doesn't work. So I've got about 5 different game plans for watching him bowl. Right? So I've obviously played a lot of cricket. But there's more to being the coach than being the coach. You've got to be a father figure. You've got to be a mentor. You've got to be a psychologist. You've got to be a disciplinarian. You've got to be a psychologist, a mentor, a coach, a disciplinarian, and all in all, a good friend who has boundaries. That's how you earn respect.
Who's the best coach you've been involved with?
Alan,
answer my question. Alan, answer my question. Who was the best coach you experienced?
The best coach. It's interesting. Probably David Lloyd. David Lloyd was quite eccentric.
David Lloyd.
We've gone really well. He basically let me do what I wanted to. He goes, Al, you got loads of talent, go and use it. Then Duncan Fletcher came along, and like not just in terms of the game, but away from the game. Like we went fishing, as I told Simon Dooley, he could not stop laughing, Norman and Naresh, when I said to him, I went fishing off Napier, which is in New Zealand, caught a mako shark, related to the great white shark, and took it back to the hotel and put it on Atherton's bed. Now, bear in mind, Naresh, David Lloyd went fishing with me. Mako sharks, they're huge. They're related to the great white shark. They're nasty. Now, on my shoulder, right, I put it in his bed. And I got dropped for the next game. But it's sense of humour. It's funny. It's not. David Lloyd thought it was brilliant. And I got dropped for the next game. Even though David Lloyd was a selector. And he dropped me and said, you have to do it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and this is very important, Alan, the team you're picking, you have few people who you leave out. How that is getting communicated is very, very important. How you communicate someone that you are not playing the next game, with or without reason. Injury is very simple. Injury keeps you out.
Michael Atherton, I know you're from India, different culture, but let's say he's not very good with young ladies, with women, right? Very shy. So I put the shark in the bed and said, Michael Atherton, here is your girlfriend for the night. Mako shark. It was funny because before that, Naresh, he went fishing in Zimbabwe, and like fly fishing, all the really good stuff, and he didn't catch anything. I went out and caught this big Mako shark. But also had a boat, and I love fishing here in Perth. I'm by the ocean in Perth. It's like Chennai, it's the ocean, fish everywhere. So I love it. But it's also called sense of humour. And everybody's different in the team. You can't have everybody go like a robot. Okay, well, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do that. I'll have my 3 wheat bix and 2 scrambled eggs. Everyone's different. Some guys might get to bed at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and go and perform brilliantly. Some guys might go to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Perform brilliantly. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
But
All right,
you're a very wise man, Naresh.
Sorry, Alan.
You're very wise.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back, you look in your watch. You're probably thinking, "Who's this?"
But his hair, but Naresh, your hairstyle. What's going on with your hairstyle?
Yes, since long.
I didn't want to say anything.
Since the lockdown started, I have continued to grow my hair. Yeah.
I'm getting ready, Naresh. Naresh, what part of India are you from?
I'm in Pune. It's say about 3 hours drive from Mumbai. I'm in Pune.
Mumbai, Delhi.
No, Mumbai, Delhi are two different metros. Pune, the last 3 ODIs India England played in Pune.
Mate,
So you know Ryan, but part two.
Your country is phenomenal. I could live there. I really could. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
so how far from the Punjab region, which I think is near the Pakistan border, up there?
Punjab is far. Yeah. Punjab is north. I'm on the western India near Mumbai. So yeah, Punjab is on the north side.
Oh, that's not far away from Sachin's house then.
Okay, all right. We've got someone joining us now.
It's not far away from Sachin Tendulkar's house. He's a friend
This
of
is a
mine.
new fellow who's joining us now.
Alan, I come from the time where I did get an opportunity to bowl to Sachin and Vinod Kambli in the nets. So during those times, yeah.
Hello, Abhinav.
Hi,
So
hi, Alan. Hi,
Mr.
Nelly.
who's joined us. Where are you, Abhinav?
Just quickly, having a conversation with Naresh.
Yeah.
When Naresh just said he had the opportunity to bowl to Sachin Tendulkar.
Okay.
And I used to play a little bit of cricket for England.
Yeah.
And
Did
I
you?
wish I never
When
had
was
that
that?
opportunity.
Sachin scored 100 when you were bowling to him. So
Yeah.
174, I think.
So I prepared him for that 100, Alan. I prepared him for that 100.
Oh, Lord.
Alan, I just wanted to say that I remember you taking a blinder of a catch at that was a long off, I guess, a one-handed catch. I guess it was in an ODI or something for England.
Against?
Was it India?
I don't know. I should know because my fielding wasn't very good.
No, I think I know Abhinav Water. I think Alan was bowling and Marcus Trescott caught the catch, or was it Collingwood who took that one-hander? Collingwood took the one-hander.
What ground?
What year was this?
It was in. I guess it was around 2002.
Was it the NatWest itself?
No, it wasn't
Was
me.
it the NatWest? Was it the NatWest
No,
Trophy?
2001.
Yeah.
All right, I'll find out.
I
and then
I wasn't born in 2002.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right.
Yeah.
Hang on. I mean, if you haven't even told us where you're from. Where are you from?
I'm from Mumbai.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm currently a first-year master student. I'm pursuing sports management, and apart from that, I am an engineering graduate. I completed my engineering in IT, and yeah, that's about it. I've played cricket. I've played competitive cricket in my younger days. I mean, I'm still young, but during the school days and college.
We're still young too.
Yeah. I mentioned that. I saw that you born in 2002. So.
Okay. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for joining us, Abhinav. So I'm bringing occasionally people on who are a part of the show, who are regular supporters of the show, and
Right.
that's what Abhinav's here for. So welcome.
Thank you.
So Naresh, just back to you for a minute. I keep looking at some of the stats and looking at some of these players. Are we going to see the best of the opening partnership of India? Because any test team in a test match, to show their worth, if we go back to the Haydens and Langers and what have you, Gavaskars, you need a solid opening partnership. Now, New Zealand, with Conway in particular, but also Latham, have got a pretty good pairing there. Now, Sharma and Gill, we know they're good. But this is the day of reckoning, because They did it well in the fourth test at the Gabba. Gill and Sharman Open, correct?
Yeah,
Gill
yeah,
did extremely well. We need to see that. The team that wins the toss will bat. I'm pretty sure of that.
for sure. Yeah.
And that particular batting lineup needs to have the top two start and score big. And they should be able to go, their sight should be on 450. Anywhere from 350 to 450.
Okay, lads.
That's the testing.
Lads, they're playing at Southampton, right?
Yeah.
My last home ground, right?
Yeah.
And when you guys all agree, they'll bat. Yeah?
Yeah.
If you all go to your betting store and put 10 million rupees on India will bat, right? They won't. I'll make a phone call to the groundsman. No, I'm joking. Well,
Hang on, you're saying...
I'll be dead serious now. I'll be dead serious. I'll speak to a few of my friends there who are members at the GS Bowl, and I'll say, have a look at the wicket. Actually, I could phone the owner right now if you like. Say, what do you reckon the deck's going to look like? The wicket. I'll find out what the wicket's going to look like, Norman. I'll give you a report tomorrow night.
I mean, with David Gravely, who was here...
I'll give you a few tidbits, not enough.
Yeah.
David
I read somewhere. Sorry, Norman. I read somewhere about the curator saying that the pitch will have bounce and carry and seam movement, and a bit of grass on it. So I don't see now India going with two spinners.
I'll speak to a few of my friends. They'll go and look at. They'll personally go and look at the wicket, take photos, and send them to me. Norman, it'll cost you.
Yeah, see, we need to keep in mind it's an ICC event. It's a neutral ground. It's nothing like home and away advantage. So ICC would want a good, as Alan said, a competitive pitch which can give you a good result over 4 to 5 days of Test cricket, not ending in 2.5, 3 days.
They'll produce the best Test cricket wicket they can.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why it's being played at the Rose Bowl, the Ageas Bowl, and not Lords or anywhere else, is because the guy who owns the place, there's a long story behind it.
Who owns
the
the place?
Bowl, hang on, Norman. I'll tell you the story behind the Ageas Bowl, right? The old Hampshire ground is called Northlands Road. There's only a small ground there. It's all been there being sold to real estate. They were moving this big dream for this big stadium called the Ageas Bowl. It's called the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl, right? The council funded X amount of money, and they promised a lot more, and then they said, "No, that's it." But all politics, right? So a good friend of mine called Rod Bransgrove, who's the chief executive president, worth a lot of money, loves cricket. He, in the midst of enticing me to move to Hampshire to play for Hampshire from Leicester, said, "We've got a new ground, and I'm going to pay the rest of the millions to get it built." And slowly but surely, they've turned this place from when we played against Australia in 2001, changing in porta cabins like caravans with a bit of a stadium to an international stadium. And the one man who deserves full credit is Rod Bransgrove. Remember that name. He'll make sure that it's a good wicket.
Okay.
Okay, Anshuman, good, Gautam. Music Harmony, Anshuman Gautam, could you please tell me the statement of the Southampton groundsman? Please write it. And we have a certain person that keeps on using a name that I've told you there's one name there. I told you if you're going to keep using that name, you delete it. All right.
Norman, I'll have to excuse myself.
Now, Naresh has been here for an hour and 28 minutes. Thank you, Naresh. We'll see you again over the next coming days. You're welcome every day, as is Gil. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Nice meeting you, Norman. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, We'll connect again. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Same time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just for the purpose of the group and for the viewers, we will have this session will be on every night at 9 p.m. my time, which is in the case of Alan at 7 p.m. in Perth. It is 4:30 in it is 4:30 in India. and a further 12 noon in England, which is where David Graveney came on. David lost contact with his connection. He's down. He's holidaying in Southampton, very close to the ground. He's back to Bristol next week. David, of course, being the chairman of selectors. And David selected Alan over a few beers. Was that right?
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Alan?
Hang on,
Alan, who are you texting?
Norman, did you see the scorecard of the India's practice game?
No, tell me.
So the thing is, Shubman Gill got 85, Rohit Sharma got 81, and KL Rahul scored 100.
Well, that's
Norman?
fantastic. What are you showing us, Al? I can't read it.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Can you?
No, you. Oh my God! Who's that from?
Do you read it?
No, I can't.
I just read something. It's regarding something about the wicket or something, pace, bounce, etc.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is what I have it here. The groundsman said the following: pitch preparation for the World Test Championship final is a little simpler. As we are in neutral weather, we are guided by the ICC. Spin could be a potential factor later in the match if conditions remain dry. Oh God, no, I can't read it.
Yeah, it's a bit low. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, can you read it out?
Are you wanting to read it out, Alan?
There.
Yeah.
Can you read
Hey,
that?
can you get the lockdown on the test wicket at the ground, bounce, pace, etc.
Okay, all right.
Send.
That's not
Send to
Okay.
contact.
all right. Now, just looking at that statement is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's saying spin may be a factor. Now, that may influence
Also-
New Zealand to actually have Ajax Patel on the side, but I hope not, because
Hey, Norm, I've got to go now.
you're going to go. All right, we might
Okay.
let
Give
you
you
go.
tomorrow, okay?
All right. So, Abhinav, I'll also be doing a monologue now. So, thank you for your time as well.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you,
My
Alan.
pleasure.
I've got to go look after, make sure Mum's okay.
All right, Alan, we'll talk about normally more over the next coming
I'm going to
days.
have a few bits about it, what we're going to do. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going
That's a great thing.
We're creating
normality.
normality, and it'll be
Yeah.
specifically around
Hey,
the anecdotal
is that your-
side of.
is that your whole name? Sorry, Norman. Alan, was that your whole name? Your first name?
My first name's Abhinav and second name's Mishra.
Abhinav. Well, I spoke to Simon Dewell this afternoon about the stuff with New Zealand, England, etc., and your test match with New Zealand. I might have a few little inside bits and pieces. So tell all your friends to jump on board.
All right.
All right,
Will do.
Alan,
It's going to get
thanks,
bigger. We'll have Brian, Steve Ward, Brian Lara. Norman is the engine room.
Yeah.
Or am I the engine room? I'm not sure. One of us is.
All right,
Well,
Alan, thank
we
you.
had a
Thank
lot
you.
of
Really
fun.
appreciate your time today. You brought some interesting aspects, but just your final word. We're going to talk to you more. And your first impression, Alan, is it going to be India or New Zealand, and why?
Oh dear. What? How long until it's played? July?
Just spit it out.
No, I want. Excuse me, it's my home ground. I need to know. So, how long until it's played? 2 weeks? 1 week?
What? The game
Oh,
starts in
the game's
3
in
days,
4 days.
4 days.
4 days.
4 days.
So what day? So today's Monday. You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What's the forecast?
It's
At this stage,
heavy rain.
raining, but more overcast than raining.
Yeah.
Okay, let me have a look at the weather map. I'll tell you what. Do you want me to get quite specific, Norman, to the team?
Well, you can
Well,
tell us. Tell us.
Hang on.
We don't need your music. Your music might be banned in some countries, Alan. So
Just to make
I would-
it
I
easier,
would-
New Zealand.
I would
Yeah,
ban
sorry.
it. I would ban your music in many countries, Alan.
I was just saying, just to make it easier for Alan, New Zealand recently beat England.
Oh, today's Monday, right? Right?
Today's
Yeah.
Monday. It'll be Friday. It'll
Game
be Friday.
starts on Friday, right?
Yep.
Game starts Friday. Yep.
Yep. Friday.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
At Rose Bowl.
Yep.
Friday.
That is about a 10-minute trek, Norman, down the M3 motorway on the way to Portsmouth. Right?
Yeah, but okay. So what do you? I mean, you should be able to tell us what.
Do 80%, 80%. So Thursday, it's going to be rained out, most of it, which means
So-
it's going to be cold weather, a drop in temperature. Been there, as we know. Oh, look, it's not nice.
So you're saying that it might end up in a draw?
No, there's no way the ICC will do whatever they can. They're going to have a 6-day of play, and 6 days with a day washout will be more than enough. There's going to be a
And what
result.
if a couple of days are washed out?
But see, we're looking at the situation realistically. The bowling attacks
Okay,
are far too good.
No, Absnath, I don't know if you can bet over there or gamble over there. Norman, I'll tell you what, put $10 on a draw. Washed out. In my experience, my own humble experience of having played there, don't shoot the messenger.
Are you some sort of rain doctor now?
Norman, I'm going to
Al,
put $10 if
Simon.
I can. It said, I'll tell you what, put $10 down for me. Well, how do you bet over here? I don't normally bet, by the way, but this one I've just looked at. I know things for home ground. Okay, I'll tell you what. They can play 6 days, 7 days. It's one of those summers where $10 on a draw, rained out.
I tell you what, that would be horribly disappointing. Horribly.
Yeah, I mean-
horribly,
No,
horribly
don't shoot the
disappointing.
messenger. I only played there.
Can I let you know,
I mean, we
guys,
don't want to draw, man.
Do you want to hear this? Listen to this. At this very moment, we have had 11,111 viewers.
That's great.
11,111 viewers.
Well, let the viewers
How bizarre
look
is
at
that number? Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah, but
Okay.
like Norman said, I mean, the bowling attack of both the teams is pretty good to
Okay.
finish the game in 3 proper days.
Abhinav, can you read that? Is that blue
yeah,
stuff?
we can. I can. It says it's
Yeah,
rain.
I can see that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to need the 450 overs anyway. I actually think that
Norman.
both bowling attacks will be at full
Norman.
throttle, and they're going to go for it early.
Norman.
The team that bats first will win.
Norman.
Yes.
Norman, are you there?
Alan, okay. All right.
There's certain rules and regulations, you know. You can't go out in the field if it's too damp and too wet. And if I'm the captain and say, my bowlers won't run up on this, and they won't. No game. Wait till it dries out. You run the roller, the roller mops out. You get the hammers. You do everything you can to get dry. The Hessian match, the whole shebang. Been there, done it. 18 years experience, Norman. This isn't Sydney. This is England.
Okay. Well, okay. At this point, we'll wait and see. But I'm hoping for a victory, and we'll leave it at that. We'll talk more about it the next couple of days. All right, Alan.
Yeah.
You want to-
India win for me.
But looking at the weather, I think it'll be. I hope there's lots of cricket, but just for interest's sake, Norman, $10 on no result.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that $10. I'll take it off you, and I'll spend it nicely.
I tell you what, then I'm so confident I'll put down $5 million.
Oh, don't be silly. Okay.
Yeah, I want in on this then.
I'll tell you,
Okay,
how about
all right,
$100 million?
All right, Alan. We'll leave it at
No, I
that. Let's
don't
look at
know. Now just look at the
Okay,
weather
all right.
forecast. Norman, stop taking things so serious. The weather forecast on Google Maps, they're like as reliable as, I don't know, what is reliable these days. It just says loads of rain. I hope there is a great test match. I really do.
So do
Yeah, I mean, we want a great game of cricket, man. It's a final.
Abhinav, I know, I understand. And you guys in India, I know. I've been there. I love you guys. I love India.
All right, guys.
Can't wait
We
to get
might
there.
call it. That's been a
I want a great
fantastic
game of
session.
cricket. I want to see fast bowlers. I want to see swing bowlers, spin bowlers, batsmen like Coley and Williamson play their shots and do their thing. I want to see the whole kitchen sink. And whether it's a win, lose, or draw for whatever team, it's a pinnacle moment in the history of this game of cricket, like World Series.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we need a proper result. I mean, we don't want the trophy to be shared amongst the two teams in the inaugural competition. So better get either an India win or a New Zealand win. And being from India, I support my team.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys. It's
I'll
been
be right if
fantastic.
you didn't.
I appreciate it. We're gonna say thank Alan Spider Mullally and Abhinav Mishra.
Thank you.
It's been great to have. We've had David Gravely. We've had
We'll see
as well.
India when we can. Me and
Gil.
Norman.
Sure, mate. Any day. Anytime you
All
come,
right,
just
all right.
Go to
give
the
me a
Bahari
ring.
Road show.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll catch you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinav. Alan, see you soon.
Pardon? Enjoy
See
that.
you later.
Enjoy that.
You're dismissed. I'm going soon.
Did you enjoy that?
Of course I did. We're still live.
Hello, Gunny Goo Goo. This could be the outtakes for a DVD.
All right, we're still live. Alan, I'm going to do a little 2-minute end, and then I'll call you shortly. All right.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. All right, China. By the way, I had a lovely Mongolian lamb with tomato and basil and rice.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Alan.
I'll speak to you later. How do I hang up from here? Leave. That's it.
Leave. Ciao. All right, guys. That was a doozy. We had. Where are you? That cricket guy. Where are you? Where are you? You're supposed to be here. I've sent you the link. I asked you to join us. All right. Sabah. All right, guys. I wanted to talk to you a bit more about this whole situation. I'm very impressed, and I don't agree with Alan Mullally, nor do I agree with a few other people about this. It's one test takes all. Play until we win. Again, a result will have to happen. Look, I know the weather might be in effect, but quite frankly, the weather will only allow it to be somewhat closer than expected. I think there'll be quite a strong win with bowling attacks that both teams have got. There's going to be very bowler-friendly conditions, bowler-heavy sides, which will see India and New Zealand fight a mammoth battle. I believe my heart says India. My head's kind of New Zealand, but my heart's India. So that's what I believe, guys, very strong. And I want to appreciate you all for being here. Tomorrow we'll have the same show time of 9 o'clock, my time, which is 12 o'clock England time. David Graven will have better microphones then. And it's 4:30 p.m. IST, Indian time. So they're the time that Alan's on at 7 p.m. He's in Perth. So hope to see you all again. Again, please, I please want you to do this. If you haven't done already, is subscribe. If you're watching this program and you haven't hit the subscribe button, I don't understand why you're watching. You should be watching and committing to a subscription. It's no cost. It doesn't affect you at all. It only helps me be able to then get you to hit the notification button and be told when an actual video is on. We may do it later. We may do it earlier, depending on the times. During the test match, I'll be pre-match and post-match on all 5 days. For today, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have the 9 o'clock time frames, and I'll be out in the streets and reading papers and getting a lot more information for you. Yeah, that's a good point. I do think that's a good point. The promotion of the women's test match between India and England is probably a bit low on the ranking scale. And look, it's going to be swallowed by the World Test Championship over the next few days. There's no doubt about that. So unfortunately, there's not a lot to be said. Indian women's team, Quick Zone. Quick Zone is a channel which is dedicated to that particular sightings, which is good, given a fair bit of airplay there. So Vera posted a picture on Instagram with Ziggy Niszczot, and the caption read, "These quicks are dominating every day. Guess that makes it clear that both Niszczot and Ziggy will play." This is interesting. This is an interesting point. So Anshuman Galton, who is also Music Harmony, is saying quite clearly that there's a preference for Ishan and Siraj, which can only mean that Shami's not in that particular group. Look, they could be playing all of them. They could be playing all. We don't know yet. Quick Legends, who's going to open with Rowan? At this point, it has to be Shubman Gill. He also scored runs in the intra-team match. It'll be Gill. Gill won't be changed. Don't forget what he did in the 4th test match in that Gabba, okay? I don't look fine. You take yours. It's cold here. It's winter time. It's freezing. I'm coughing a bit. I always cough a bit. I've got a bit of a cough. Okay, don't bother me. Yeah, it's clear. Anshuman, yes. I'm glad you're putting Anshuman Galton and not Music Harmony. I'm glad you're doing. McCain Williamson update is clear. He's playing. He's rested. He's playing. There'll be no way won't. Yeah, the doubts about rain is certainly there. We have got doubts, but look, there's a 6th day. They won't need 5 days. The bowling attacks, especially New Zealand and obviously India, the batting is pretty strong, but it's not going to hold up for that long. We're going to have a result. I'm pretty sure. Mayank Agarwal is in the mix, but he won't be playing. Punt again. Rishabh Punt. Remember the name. It's not the next Adam Gilchrist. It's the first Rishabh Punt. The significance of that man, even in this match, with limited time to play, with a limited number of overs due to rain, this man will come out and bash away. And as one of my other reports said, bang, 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 off he goes. That was Steve Maven, actually, from South Rabbitohs TV. He said that. Who may be the pick of the bowlers from the Team India? In my opinion, India, I still think Siraj. I still think Siraj has got that X factor. Bumrah's obviously good to the Siraj. Something about Siraj. He'll get that ball and move away nice, and there'll be a few nicks off his bowling. There's no place for Matt Henry unless they buy 5 bowlers, which means no de Granholm, no Patel, no Santner. That's the only way he'll get in. Okay? That's the only way he'll get in. So how are we going with we've got some, we've got a fair few people that have been watching. It's been great, guys. I appreciate it. I think we need to unless you can provide me with some good questions. Yeah, there is some magic. Siraj is showing me every time he plays, he grows in confidence. He's got this steel, this desire to win. I don't necessarily see that in Shami's face or Bumrah's face, or even to an extent Ishan's face. The only one of the bowlers to me that has that eye for a win is Siraj. And in the batting department, the one that has the most eye for it to win is Punt. I'd love to see Kohli get a big double century. That would be fantastic. But I don't think anyone's going to get a double century in this Test match. I think they'll be even lucky. I'd be surprised if anyone gets a Test century. Why? Because of the way that the match will be played out, it'll be very, very tense. We could see some, again, low batting scores. The second, third, and fourth innings will be much lower. They'll be between 200 and 300, if probably more like 250 at max. The second, third, and fourth innings. So the first innings, whoever wins the toss, elects to bat, which they will have to, will be decisive. Very decisive. And if they score 300 to 350, let's say plus, we will have a result, and it will be quite heavily, potentially one-sided. We'll wait and see on that one. All right, guys. Who will be the top scorer for the WTC final? Who will be the main person to score the runs? That's a hard one. I mean, Pujara's steadiness is important. I keep seeing Punt score a big score. I can see Punt scoring a big score. Okay, hints of Habib. I'm not sure what that meant. And India is very strong. And we've talked cricket milestone. We've talked about who's going to open with Rohit Sharma. It's going to be Shubman Gill. Very clear. Very, very clear. Very, very clear who's playing for that. I want questions, guys. At this point, I'm not going to ask questions. You're going to keep me on there if you ask me questions. And make statements, not just in the live chat, but post the interview today, but post this discussion. I want you to go into the comments column and not just let me make comments. I want you all to make comments. It's very important that we all do that. Okay? I'm not going to get more. So you're from India. That's great. Yeah, Pujara is extremely important for this match, especially if it becomes an innings where players are getting out regularly. He will be a needed backbone of the team. Okay, we've already talked about the batting order in New Zealand. The batting order in New Zealand should be Latham with Conway, Williamson, Taylor, Nichols. Then number 6 will be Watling. 7 will be, I think, de Granholm. And then you'll have 8, 9, 10, 11 will be the 4 bowlers. in whatever order, probably Jamison, Southey, and then you'll have Bolt be number 11, and the other will be Wagner. But I'd like to see Will Young get in. I'd like to see him be in the side, but I'm not sure they will. Matt Henry should be considered, but he won't be able to play. There's too many blokes that are ahead of him leading into the series, and you just can't change that because of one man's performance. Matt Henry did bowl well, but he may not bowl well next game. We just don't know. Bahari and Kyle Rahul will not be playing. They'll be potentially in the series 5 test series. Potentially they'll be in the mix there somewhere, but they're not going to be playing in the World Test Championship. That's been decided. Again, the training sessions we saw, I think we heard Kyle Rahul actually got 100, which was interesting, which is great. He may have a presence, but it's going to be, unless Gill injures himself, Gill's going to play. That's with respect to Gill and what he's done leading up to this match. He deserves to be there. Unfortunately, Kyle Rahul is just the one to have to suffer and not be put in there. All right, guys, we might leave it at that. I think we've gone long enough time-wise. Looking at anything further reports. Okay, I'm taking 3 more questions. Umesh Yadav is not playing. Good player as he is. My playing 11, I'm going to give it. What if England qualified for the World Test Champion final? And should England play in England? Well, that's a good question. I would argue no. So my Indian batting order for the 11, and I think Gill said it earlier, said it to Naresh when they were on earlier. They're going to keep very solid. They're going to keep it to Gill and Sharma with Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Punt, and then you'll have Jadeja and Ashwin, and then you'll have the 3 bowlers, Bumrah with either Shami, Ishant, or Siraj. 2 of those 3 will get in the side. All right, 2 more questions. One of the matches is a draw. How do winners decide? The winner's not decided. It's then just shared equally, which is a very, very frustrating situation. Well, I mentioned about the pitch. There was a statement put out by the curator. The pitch preparation for the World Test Championship final is a little simpler, as we are a neutral venue. We are guided by the ICC and no one else. Spin could be a potential factor for later towards the end of the match if conditions remain dry, groundsman. So the ground remains dry. That's the big factor we're not saying there. Last question. One last question I want to pick. I want a new question. So, new question. Yeah, cricket milestone saying he's excited. He's excited. Okay. Ishant Sharma's better because of his in-swinging deliveries. That's my last question. I would argue that's a fair point. He could be just as is Southey. Southey can also do that play that same role. So they could either put one of the 2 in there in that place. But that's the big question. I would argue that Ishant Sharma's vying for a position with Siraj and Shami, and 2 of those 3 will get in. And I'm not concerned which 2 out of those 3 get in. It could well be Siraj and it'll be Ishant or Shami. It's a hard one. Very hard one. Very, very hard one indeed. I'm not the one that's going to be answering that question for you, so I don't know. I don't know what the story will be there at all. So, okay, we've gone 1 hour 53. I'll go 6 minutes more. Ask questions. Okay. AJ Patel in place of Colin de Granholm. Well, quite frankly, I think de Granholm is a match winner. Patel played pretty well in the last Test match, and they won. But I don't know whether he's a match winner, and that's the difference for me. We'll have de Granholm in the side. And that's my thoughts. So, all right. We're just about done, guys. What do you think? Okay, I already asked that question. Okay. If you were England, would you play a spinner, if any? Well, David Graveney, who's the head of selectors, chairman of selectors, being a spinner himself for most of his career, basically hinted that that was a mistake. They should have played a spinner in that match, and I agree. Because of England's need to play a spinner, maybe that's what they did it for. They weren't that strong in the spinning department. That's the problem. Whereas India will play both Jadeja and Ashwin, because not only are they the best spinners, they're the best bowlers in the Indian lineup, fast or slow. And that's the difference. All right. I'm just looking at the time. We have gone. Yeah, we've gone long enough, guys. Okay, so should India go with Sharp? No, okay. This is the last, very, very last question. Where is it? Sunil Kumar said, should India go with Sharma, Siraj, Bumrah, Ishaq together? If they do that, then they'll have to take one of the spinners out. That's the problem that they've got. And I think that's a problem they don't want to have to face. All right. Okay, guys. So again, I'm going to repeat. Abhijit Bandi says hi. Go on. So view, like, and share the post. Please, as we speak now, go to your computer and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done. I want to see evidence of subscribe buttons are hit. And then you also hit the so-called alert button, the notification button. So subscribe and alert notification button, and also share. Send in your WhatsApp groups, your Facebook Messenger groups, your Instagram groups, whatever groups you've got. Share the link to this page and have them come and join us as we're about to headlock straight into the biggest cricket match in the World Test Championship. The final, the pinnacle of all finals. That's what this is. And I want to stress that more than anything, this is an actual World Test Championship final. The ICC World Test Championship final. That sits above T20 and 50 over cricket, IPL, Ashes, whatever's below that. This is the pinnacle. The women see that. The women see it that way. The Indian-England women's Test match is the pinnacle for them. They play it so rarely. We have the pinnacle here of all the Test matches being played. This is the final of finals. One game wins all. Hope like hell it doesn't rain to the point where the game is either washed out or tied in some manner. What's the weak? Okay, this is a good question. I like this. There we go. What's the weakest area in the Kiwi and the Indian squad? The weakness in the Kiwi squad is their spin bowling department. I don't think Satna, or for that matter, Ajaz Patel are good enough to force their way into the team, and hence that's their biggest weakness. Is their own bowling is reliant on the fast bowls, which they're very good at, but they haven't got a spin option that's really worthy of being there. The likes of Punt will tear them apart. So that's New Zealand's weakness. It is definitely a spin bowler, of the stature of an Ashwin or a Jadeja they haven't got. In India's case, it's the strength of their batting is also the weakness of their batting. What I mean by the weakness, they've got 4 right-handers, excluding Pujara for the moment. That is the likes of Gill, Sharma, Rahane, and Kohli. All 4 of those players, Pujara excluded, those 4 players are very good at getting nicks. That means they're not letting the ball go enough. They're playing a ball that should leave, or the balls are that good that they're good enough a batter to get the edge on the ball, which is moving away either off the pitch as cutting off the wicket or swinging. And that's both the strength and weakness of the Indian players. They're that good that they can actually get themselves caught behind a ball they shouldn't. And I go back to the match in Adelaide where they scored 36. Australia, Hazelwood, Stark and Co. Cummins bowled very, very well. And India were just too good, and they were good enough to get the edge to balls they probably could have easily left. So that was the issue there. All right. We're coming up to Kane Williamson's role as a captain is clear. I mean, Latham captained very well as well. Williamson will take risks and will try and win the match. We saw what he did in the first match. He gave England a chance. England didn't take it, and they certainly didn't get a chance in the second test. England had taken the first game, and they took the chance. It would have been potentially 1-1. They blew it. New Zealand were more attacking, and India has to be equally as attacking. They can't be conservative either. They both have to be very attacking. All right, guys. You guys must have much to watch there. You're watching me for too long. No, I'm only joking. I already talked about this, Gaurav Kumar, very much often. The Indian team will be, as per program, the top 6 will be exactly the way they is. 7, 8 will be Ashwin and Jadeja, and the last 3 will be the fast bowlers, and that'll be 3 out of the 4 being 3 out of the 4, which are Ishant Sharma, Siraj, Shami, and of course Bumrah. They've still got Thakur, Shardul Thakur there as well, and on top of that they've got even Umesh Yadav. They've got bowlers coming out of their ears. KL Rahul will not play in 11, unfortunately. It's not based on not being good. He scored a century in the World match. So did Matt Henry's take several wickets in the man of the match. Matt Henry's not playing. KL Rahul scored a century. He's not playing. That's unfortunate. No, Rishabh Pant will always play. There's no doubt about that. KL Rahul has a better chance of replacing one of the openers. That is probably Gill, but he won't be doing that. You could even see Virat do it. You never know, as he did in the short versions of the game. He did that as well. All right, guys, I think it's time to go. I've gone 2 hours. Thank you very much for your time again. View, like, and share. Subscribe. Hit the notification button. Share in your groups. WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, wherever you share, or email. Share your groups out. How can we keep growing numbers? Every time I say goodbye, we grow. More people want to watch. Thanks for answering questions. For an exciting final, and fingers crossed, we'll get a winner. I agree. This is the best statement of the day. Thanks for answering, and hope for an exciting final, and fingers crossed we'll get a winner. A World Test Championship final, the very first one, go in living history as to one of the most important matches. Let's not doubt that. See you tomorrow, guys. All right, all the best.